What is justice? Is it a system of laws and courts, or is it something more personal, more visceral? Justice, as we know it, is a complex concept. It's not just about rules etched in stone or verdicts delivered from high benches. It's about the human quest for fairness, the pursuit of right over wrong, the struggle for vindication. Now imagine a world where justice is not served on a silver platter by the system but forged in the fires of personal anguish, where the lines between right and wrong blur, not in the face of law, but in the face of raw human emotion. Our story takes us to the heart of such a world where justice is not just a matter of courts and laws, but also a deeply personal endeavor, a world that was the reality for one woman. Enter Marianne Bachmeier, a woman who took justice into her own hands. The year was 1981, and Marianne Bachmeier was living a quiet life in Germany when tragedy struck. On a day that began like any other, her world was abruptly turned upside down. Her beloved daughter, Anna Bachmeier, was taken from her in the most unimaginable way. A crime so heinous that it sent ripples of shock and horror through their small community. Without delving too deeply into the gruesome details, let's focus on the profound impact this had on Marianne. The loss of a child is an unspeakable sorrow, a void that can never be filled. Marianne's life, once filled with the joyous laughter and innocent mischief of her little girl, was suddenly consumed by a deafening silence. Her heart was not just broken but shattered into a million pieces, but within that all-consuming despair, something began to stir. A spark, a flame, a burning desire for justice. In the face of such heart-wrenching loss, Marianne was left shattered, but something stirred within her. Fast forward to the trial, a setting meant for justice, yet Marianne had other plans. She had made her decision, and it was one of cold, resolute determination. With a gun concealed and a heart ablaze, she stepped into the courtroom. The room fell silent as the accused was brought in. Amid the tense quiet, Marianne's heart pounded like a war drum. As the accused took his place, Marianne's moment had come. She drew her weapon, and without hesitation she fired. The courtroom erupted into pandemonium, a whirlwind of shock and disbelief. Yet, in the eye of this storm stood Marianne, her face a mask of grim satisfaction. The anger that had fueled her, now replaced by a chilling sense of triumph. She had taken the law into her own hands, believing she had served her own brand of justice. With a single shot, Marianne had taken her revenge, yet the question of justice remained. In the aftermath, public opinion was divided. Some saw Marianne as a hero, others as a criminal. The courtroom, once a stage for the cold facts of a child's murder, transformed overnight into a forum for a heated debate on justice and retribution. Marianne Bachmeier had taken the law into her own hands, and now the law had its say. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison, a punishment that seemed to pale in comparison to the life sentence she had dealt to her daughter's killer. But, as if the scales of justice had tipped ever so slightly in her favor, Marianne served only 3 of those years. Her story, one that began with an unthinkable tragedy, ended with a complex question: can vengeance ever be justified? For those who saw Marianne as a hero, their answer was a resounding yes, that sometimes the system fails, and in those moments individuals must step in to right the wrongs. They argued that Marianne's act, though violent, was an act of love, a mother's desperate attempt to seek justice for her child. But for those who viewed her as a criminal, their answer was a firm no. They held the belief that justice should be blind, unbiased, and left in the hands of the law. They saw Marianne's act as one of revenge, not justice. And in their eyes, her actions undermined the very foundation of our legal system. This division in opinion wasn't just about Marianne, but about us. It held a mirror to our collective understanding of justice, forcing us to reflect on our own beliefs. It asked us to consider the line between justice and vengeance, and whether that line can ever blur or even disappear. In the end, Marianne Bachmeier's story forces us to confront our own beliefs about justice and vengeance, and perhaps that's the most unsettling part of it all.